Rick and Morty is jam-packed with Easter eggs and references, and it seems like Season 3's taking it to a whole new level. So we've combed through and found some of our favorites. And I understand that this is the internet, so if these aren't your favorites, some of you might boil over with rage. Totally normal reaction. Despite that potential anger, here are the best Rick and Morty Season 3 Easter eggs so far, in our opinion. You're allowed to have yours too. In fact, that's normal and good. Before we jump in, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay up to date with all our videos because there are a lot of them. We just got Season 3's version of a clip episode, but instead of flipping through interdimensional cable, Rick and Morty were going through some of Morty's erased memories. This all happened because Morty looked into the eyes of the Truth Tortoise and learned everything, which doesn't work on real tortoises. I tried. The Truth Tortoise says something to Morty that sounds like gibberish. But if you actually reverse the audio, he says this.
I'm a beetle, Paul is dead.
That's a reference to a conspiracy theory that says that the real Paul McCartney died in a car accident in 1967, and that he was replaced by a look-alike. This is something that theorists claim was hinted at during reversed Beatles lyrics. I'd want to have that truth erased from my brain too. Another animal Easter egg from Morty's Mind Blowers. In one of the memories, Morty heads out confidently into the world with a device that Rick made him that lets him hear what animals are saying. That's when he stumbles upon the squirrels, who, as we always suspected, are the Illuminati and basically run the world order. When the squirrels realize that Morty can hear them is when this Easter egg comes into play. One of the squirrels says to another, "Tell Daphne to run a 199 on a possible Doolittle." If you weren't around in the 90s or weren't paying attention to Eddie Murphy's career back then, you might have missed that that was a reference to Dr. Doolittle, a movie starring Eddie Murphy as a doctor who can communicate with animals. That was a remake of the 1968 Rex Harrison movie. Kind of a weird version that ended with people riding off into the ocean on a giant snail, which kind of sounds like something from Rick and Morty. The Ricklantis mix-up was an episode that was filled with Easter eggs to movies like Training Day and Stand By Me. It also had a bunch of versions of Rick's and Morty's that were nods to other movies. But one of the best ones, in our opinion, was a nod to not only a movie, but the origins of Rick and Morty. At the aptly named Creepy Morty's strip club sex place, one of the Mortys is dressed up like Marty McFly from Back to the Future. That's a nod to Back to the Future, but also to Doc and Marty, a 2006 web series by Justin Roiland for Dan Harmon's Channel 101 that was the origin of Rick and Morty. And that whole thing was originally done as kind of a joke. Justin Roiland was getting cease and desist letters from Bill Cosby's lawyers over another series of his called House of Cosby's. Cosby's lawyers were afraid it was going to hurt the comedian's image, and his image did end up getting hurt, but by other stuff. There were a lot of jabs at Marvel in the whole Vindicators episode, but the season also featured a pretty cool reference to Marvel as well. We mentioned in a previous video that the Pickle Rick episode has kind of a Breaking Bad connection. Rick is stranded and has to science his way out of a situation like Walt had to do in the 4 Days Out episode of Breaking Bad. Well, it seems like after those cockroach scenes, Rick works his way up from a Walter White to a Tony Stark kind of scientist. He gets suited up in his Pickle Rat battlesuit in a way that's a direct nod to Tony Stark getting suited up as Iron Man. Now, if we can get a Pickle Rick that gets injected with super soldier serum, we can have a whole Pickle Rick Civil War. And I didn't even know I wanted that until just now. This season of Rick and Morty started with a whole bunch of brain messing. The Galactic Federation were trying to grab information from Rick while having him be in a fake universe at Shoney's. But then Rick was Rick and created a whole fake origin story to trick them. But there's a fan theory going around that they're actually still at that Shoney's, and that this whole season has been playing in Rick's mind. And there have been a couple of Easter eggs to maybe support that. At the end of the Pickle Rick episode, Beth suggests Shoney's as a place for them to go have drinks. And during the Ricklantis mix-up episode, middle management Rick has a Shoney's mug. So are these Easter eggs hinting that they're still at Shoney's, or are they nothing? Those were some of our favorite Easter eggs so far in Season 3 of Rick and Morty. There are a ton of Easter eggs going on, so let us know in the comments section what your favorite hidden detail has been so far, and also what you make of the whole Shoney's theory. Also, if you're watching this on Facebook, be sure to hit the link to jump over to YouTube and subscribe to Screen Rant. Thanks for watching.